Welcome to the Dare to Grow Show. I'm Sarah Morgan, and my mission is to help you take daily action in your business, show up consistently and confidently for your audience, and earn more with digital products and programs. I know you have a rad vision for your life and business, but do you dare to grow? Let's jump into this episode and talk about how to make it happen. All right, y'all, welcome to episode 79. You know what? Sometimes I start writing a podcast episode and I'm not entirely sure where it's headed. I feel like, I don't know, is this the right thing that I want to be writing about and talking about? And then I get into it and suddenly it comes together into something totally epic. And that is what happened with this episode. I wasn't quite sure it was going to come together, but it did. So make sure you grab something to write with. If you're listening on the go, you can always head over to xosarah.com/podcast, find the episode transcript and take notes from there. Or you can, of course, hang out with me and listen to the episode again when you have time to take notes. But content planning tends to be one of the bigger marketing challenges, and I'm going to give you some specific stuff to focus on to help you come up with more effective content ideas and come up with them faster. So get something to write with or make a note to come back to this in the future, because I think you're really going to find this one helpful. So here's what I notice when it comes to content planning. No matter what platform you're using, blog posts, Instagram posts, YouTube videos, podcast episodes, there's a tendency to sit down, open a blank page, and try to come up with something brilliant and perfect in the moment that's going to generate like 1 million sales in one day. And then what happens is you stare at the page, you feel frustrated, like why can't you come up with anything? Or you're frustrated that your ideas don't feel good enough. And so you give up and you're going to try again tomorrow. And sometimes that happens on repeat. So you accidentally disappear from Instagram or stop sending emails to your list, or you create stuff that you don't really love just so that you can keep showing up consistently. We guess at what we should be posting, even if we have a template or a post list or a fill-in-the-blank document. And I know because I have created all of those things, and I still sometimes sit down and stare at a blank document trying to figure out what to say. And I have to remind myself that I actually do have systems for coming up with content ideas, and all I have to do is go back and look at the information or the data I've collected to figure out what I need to say to my audience next. In order to grow your audience and turn them into customers or clients, you need to focus on 3 things. Number 1, you need to attract new people. This is probably going to be on a platform like Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, or by getting in front of other people's audiences with collaborations, pitching to media outlets, or by being a guest on a podcast. And you can grow your audience by offering free information, ideas, tips, advice, and entertaining content. Number 2, you need to warm up all of those new audience members. They need to get to know you as a person. Like, what are your values? What are your experiences? How do you teach and share information or work with clients? They need to understand the transformation you can create and how you create that. And video is really helpful in this stage because it speeds up the getting to know you process. And this is a story I've told before, but I'm going to mention it here because it's something I have to remind myself of often. I was watching Amanda Frances on Stories one day. She's like the money manifestation queen, and she has a massive business. She was in the middle of a launch and was asking her audience why they purchased from her. So she puts a question box in her story, and then a few hours later, she shares the answers, and person after person just wrote, "Your vibe." That's why they bought, because of her vibe, which is important to remember because when you find yourself in a niche filled with other people doing similar things, that is what will make the difference. People will buy from you because they like you as a human and want to spend time working with you or learning from you, even if they can get similar information or the similar transformation elsewhere. And you will be much happier with the people who show up to purchase or hire you if you are showing up with all of your quirks and weird tendencies and your personality. You will attract people who you enjoy working with. Because there's nothing worse than getting into like a 3-month contract or a big project with someone whose values and vibes do not align with your own. And this is one of the things I actually love about running the Essentials, because I genuinely enjoy spending time with the members and having discussions and working together, because they're all people I would totally be friends with. And you all know I am a massive introvert, and I'm over here thinking about how can I get in a room with all of my members, because I just like them so much. And liking the people that show up for your stuff makes your job a lot easier. So warming up your audience is not just about building trust and making sure that they know how you can help, but also focusing on the like part of know, like, and trust. And being my cute little weird self is an easy way to make that happen and make it happen faster. And then the third thing that you need to focus on with your content is turning your audience into customers or clients. And you do this by pitching or mentioning your product or service over and over and over and over and over and over again. If you hang out with me on the podcast, if you follow me on Instagram, if you're on my email list, you are going to hear and see me mention the Essentials a million times. Number one, because I'm obsessed with it and I think it's amazing, but also that is part of pitching and selling your stuff. It means talking about the before and after, sharing success stories, either from you or from the people who have gone through your program, hired you, purchased your product. Sharing results or positive feedback on your program or service helps your audience members who are on the fence see that it can happen for them too. And it's not one sales pitch a week or a month. I know what y'all are up to. I know you're not selling enough. Selling is something that should be woven into every piece of content you create, so that if someone comes into your orbit, they are going to know who you are, what you do, and what you offer, no matter how long they hang out. If this is your first time listening to the Dare to Grow show, I've already mentioned the Essentials 15 times. So you now know about my program, and I don't have to actually do a full-on sales pitch of what is all included. So as long as you're talking to your audience, keep in mind that everything you share is giving them an opportunity to take a step forward, to get out of where they're stuck and into the thing that they want or the thing they're trying to do. And this trips up a lot of business owners selling their stuff and showing up a lot, because we immediately feel annoying. But here's the difference between TV commercials and radio ads and billboards and things that feel annoying and make us believe that promoting our stuff is annoying. The difference between all of those forms of advertising and advertising to people who are following you or are on your email list or listening to your podcast is that they took that action to connect with you because they want to hear the information. They want someone to help them, they're looking for a solution, and they followed you in hopes of getting that. So your promotion is not random. Those people want to hear it. And if you have a solution that you're not putting out there, you are holding your audience back. You are holding your audience back. So important, we got to say it twice, because they're not going to DM you or email you and ask if you have a program or a service. In all of my years doing this online business stuff, I think I've had 3 or 4 people out of the blue ask me for a specific service. If people find you on Instagram, they might not even look at your website. They're going to wait until your program or your service shows up in front of them, and then they will figure out if it's what they need. So you have to show up first, and you have to show up often. So now that we've established the goal of your content, growing your audience, warming them up, and turning them into customers or clients, let's talk about how to figure out what to say to them. Number 1, survey your audience. Your current clients or customers have all the information you need to fill in your content plan. Why people are attracted to you, what got them excited and engaged, why they decided to hire or purchase from you. And while testimonials are helpful, when people can leave anonymous answers, they tend to say a little bit more. Now, I have a whole episode on surveying your audience and getting useful feedback. That's episode number 44 if you want to go back and listen. But I'll give you a couple of quick suggestions right now that will help you figure out what to say to your audience. First, when I send out a survey, I don't ask a lot of multiple choice questions. Instead, I ask open-ended questions and I give them space to write. So I recently surveyed my Essentials members and I asked them, What do you like about the courses? What do you like about the coaching calls? And what do you like about the Facebook group? And I gave them space to write, and I got lots of different answers. And then instead of saying, what do you dislike? The opposite of that, I asked what would make the lessons, the coaching calls, and the Facebook group better, which feels a little easier than asking what they dislike because then their answer is providing help instead of criticism, and it tends to result in more useful answers. Sometimes there isn't anything big to fix, but they can give you the little adjustments that might really help. I also ask things like, why did you join the Essentials? This question is in the onboarding survey in the very first lesson of the program. So all of my new members are able to submit the answer to this question. And in the offboarding survey, after people cancel and leave, I ask, why did you leave the Essentials? So generally in creating a marketing message, you want to focus on where someone is now, like the issues and experiences they want to change, and where someone is hoping to go or what they want to accomplish. And that's what you get from the onboarding and offboarding surveys. And since they're sent automatically, every time I go to write something, all I have to do is open up that Airtable base and look at the information that people have submitted. Okay, number 2, you want to look at the content you have already shared. Data is really, really useful in spending less time coming up with content ideas because you're not pulling them out of thin air. Look at your top Instagram post, your most viewed blog posts, your most clicked emails. Look at the content that has turned into lots of new followers or new customers and clients. If you don't know where people are coming from when they purchase from you, then that should be at the top of your research list. And then once you find that top content, you can do a few things. You can write a part 2 or an updated version of that original post. You can use that idea, but focus on a slightly different topic. So I was coming up with a topic for an Instagram live, kind of wasn't sure what I wanted to share. So I scrolled back through my past lives, which are all archived in my IGTV. And I saw the most popular one was about content planning mistakes. So I decided to talk about something similar and decided to go with mistakes that keep you overwhelmed by your to-do list, which also did really well. And then you can also repurpose that blog post and turn it into an IG reel, or take that podcast episode and turn it into an email. Because if it worked once, there's a really good chance it's going to work again in the same spot or on a different platform. And then lastly, you're going to answer these questions. What sucks for your ideal customer or client right now? Like in this moment, today? What's really hard, driving them crazy, bumming them out? What are they worried about happening in the future if they don't fix those problems? So if they keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, what are they worried is going to happen? And then what do they need right now? Like, what would be a quick stress relief for them? And lastly, what dreams do they have for the future? What is that vision, the before and after vision that they want to go after? So for my audience, it sucks that you have 50 things on your to-do list at all times and never feel like you're getting anywhere. It sucks that you're watching other people, maybe even people selling the same stuff, who are having success when you aren't having any success yet. And it sucks that you're working so damn hard and customers and clients are showing up like molasses. So fucking slow. And then for my audience thinking about the future, they're worried about putting in all of this time and effort and money and ending up in the same place next year or the year after or the year after that. You're worried that people don't really want what you have, or that they'll buy from you or hire you and be disappointed. Yeah, that's a sucky one to think about. And you're worried that you'll disappoint your family or have to go back to your day job or stay at your day job if this stuff doesn't work. And then on the other hand, what would make it easier right now? For my audience, it's knowing exactly what to work on first and having a step-by-step process. Having a post on Instagram, get lots of comments or lots of engagement, finishing all of your work so you can have your nights and weekends off, and having a content system so that showing up consistently feels easy, maybe even fun. And for the future, y'all are working on creating a business that generates a full-time income, that doesn't take up every minute of your day, that makes an impact on your customers or clients, and a business that feels fun, inspiring, motivating to work on. This is why creating content looks easy for some people and feels like a struggle for others, because systems and data take a lot of the pressure off. I have a system for figuring out what to say next, and this means it takes me like an hour, maybe 2, to plan an entire month of content for my Instagram, my email list, and my podcast. I'm recording this episode on September 3rd, and I already know what I'm going to post on every platform for the entire month. So now all I have to do is sit down and create the content, which is so much easier when I don't have to also figure it out in that same moment. So there is a full training on my content planning system in the Essentials. We go through the content matrix in depth. I share lots of examples. I share how I plan my content for every platform in one spot in Airtable, which will probably blow your mind. You can go to exosarah.com/essentials to get instant access to all of that. And I am in the Essentials Facebook group every single day. So if you get stuck at any point in this content planning stuff, I am always around to answer questions. Now, last thing, if you are just starting your business and you don't have an audience to survey or content to get data from, you've got a couple of options. If you are literally starting from zero, like no clients, no customers yet, you're going to make this stuff up. So you are going to do the thing that I just told you not to do. You're going to guess, but you're going to be very specific. So picture your audience struggling with what you know you can fix for them and identify the feelings, the thoughts, the actions that are happening. And then picture them with everything fixed or figured out, like a year out of your program or a year out of working with you. What do those feelings and thoughts and actions look like now? So you're picturing the before and after version of their story. If you do have a few customers or clients, pick your favorites, like who would you want to work with on repeat if you could just clone them, and then ask them all the questions we just went over. Because getting a testimonial is great, but really understanding their experience and their motivations will help your entire marketing plan. And lastly, it's just the internet, so have fun with it. If it feels like there are rules because there are trends happening and everyone seems to be doing the same thing, they're not. There are millions of people on Instagram, millions of content creators. So if you have a weird idea or you want to do something you've never seen before, go for it. Have fun with your audience, because you will then attract cute little weirdos just like yourself, and showing up will be fun. You'll feel like you're talking to real people because your audience will be filled with the people you genuinely want to connect with. Okay, that is all for this week. Give this stuff a shot. Don't panic if you feel like you aren't getting it right on the first try. You got to keep asking questions, keep looking at the data. I promise you will find the sweet spot and your people will start showing up and interacting, and creating content will get easier. And just a little reminder, if you like hanging out with me every week here on the podcast, you will love the Essentials. Even just the Facebook group is worth the cost of the membership, because we have so many rad women in there and one rad dude, and everyone is working on different niches but focused on the same marketing and business stuff. And if you vibe with me, you will fit right in. So I hope to see you in the Essentials soon. Let me know if this episode was helpful. You can find me on Instagram at @xosarahmorgan. I love getting messages from podcast listeners, especially if you just found me and tuned in. Give me a shout, say hi, let me know what you thought, and I hope you have a great week. I will talk to you again soon. Oh, and one more thing before I go. If you have more questions on what we talked about today, you want templates, trainings, or some accountability to make that shit happen, head over to exosarah.com/essentials and become a member of the Essentials. You will get instant access to the courses, coaching calls, and community. And this way I can help you simplify your marketing, show up with confidence, and dare to grow every single day.